Yeah. So really, here, Kathy, we got some in here. It isn't the thing you do, it's the thing you leave undone, which gives you a bit of heartache as the setting of the sun. Please rise for the hymn.
Welcome to the Unitarian Church. My name is Nathan. I'm one of your ministers. Brian, I'm a little echoey again for some reason. Not again for you, but for this mic. A few things for you to know. First of all is during middle hour today, in room 5 is the parenting support group for parenting in tumultuous times. In room 6 is an exploration of our faith. This one is on the signs and the symbols of our religion. And in room 1, the social justice sub-team on voting is inviting in Abel Thompson. He is the lead organizer of Together Baton Rouge, but in terms of this church, he is a member of this church and he grew up in this church. He is going to engage in a discussion of the mayor's Thrive plan. Together Baton Rouge is intentionally not taking a stand on one side or the other, so it would be important, I think, for you to get not some of your questions to him answered, but questions about what the Thrive Plan could mean, because I have personally never seen a more complicated vote. So it would be good that we engage with that. So that will be in room 1. Coming up next week is the blood drive, and then I'm going all out of order. The blood drive, and then on Thanksgiving Day, we're going to have a potluck. If you would like to be a part of that, there should be a table out there for you to sign up on. And also, next, on the 22nd, we are going to have a jewelry sale. So if you have jewelry that you would really like to donate to help raise money for the church, or if you know people who want to buy jewelry, please help promote that sale. Last, finally, for the first time in 6 months, we're going to have an environmentally appropriate fire pit gathering. So this Wednesday at 6 o'clock, it will actually feel like you would want to be around a fire, and we are going to have that right here at the church if you would like to come be a part of it. That's what it is here at the church. I'd like to invite you into this morning's prayer as we begin for worship. The God that we know and we see love and hope and kindness, whatever that spirit is that keeps you going, be with us on this day. And hold all of those who are worried about where their next meal is coming from. Those who may have been abandoned by this government or by this system, or those who may have never qualified but still worry. Hold all of those who are struggling, living amidst violence. Hold all of those who are victims of genocide and war. May today be the day that more peace comes to this earth. May today be the day that we do not see the other, but we only see extensions of ourselves. For those who are struggling with sobriety or health or estrangement, or don't know what to do with your family or within some relationship you are in, may you find health and clarity. May you find some path to what this world needs. May you know that you are loved and that the world is better because you are here. Amen. The only announcement we have this week as part of our Stones ritual is that Lang Baker's memorial service will be on December 13th at 10 o'clock. That's a Saturday. This ritual we have is open to everybody, visitor and member alike, online or in person. Online, we invite you to type your stone into the chat. In person, we invite you to come forward either along the west or the east wall. Take a stone, let it represent whatever you're carrying, and place it in the chalice bowl. We now invite those who wish to come forward as we place stones. And we say together, with hope to make this a better world, we light this flame. Its light is the symbol of the power of love.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue.
And one last piece. Today's service has been created and will be delivered by a member of this church, our own Pennie Nichols. Pennie has only been a member of this church 20, 30 years? Just 20? All right, so some number of years. Pennie helps in a number of ways. She used to be one of our fundraising co-chairs. She also does a lot of the communications for the church. So a lot of the stuff you see on social media, Pennie at least had her hand in doing it. So with that, I am pleased to welcome you, Pennie. And you have a very long reading, I think, for us.
Anyone then who knows the right thing to do and fails to do it is guilty of sin.
Not surprised to hear laughter at that. Good morning. I'm Pennie Nichols, a member of the Preacher Pack. We, as the Preacher Pack, often speak to Bible verses or practices that trouble us. I was raised Southern Baptist with fire in my heart and salvation in my belly. Or was it the other way around? At any rate, from early on, I was versed in sin and the devil. I took the lessons and the warnings seriously. Obsessed with avoiding sin, I often dreamt of the devil erupting from the soil of my grandmother's farm and chasing me. I made sure I understood what sins were, what was good, what was bad, and I always outran the devil. I had things under control. The devil was menacing, but just a dream. I didn't have to worry about him because I was on a path to heaven that my preacher had paved for me with clear signs and guardrails. I would be a servant and help save the world from sin and that damn devil. Oops, we don't swear. I'd save the world from that darn devil. I don't remember who delivered the bad news, nor whether it was in a sermon or a Sunday school lesson. It might have been in a book I read. But imagine my dismay when I learned that I could do all the right things, never do any bad things. That is, I could live my whole life and never do a sin, but I might get tripped up on that path to heaven because there's one other thing, that different kind of doing, that can be the path of my undoing, the sin of not doing, the sin of omission. My goody two-shoes didn't just come undone, they fell apart. As Unitarian Universalists, we don't toss the word sin around too much. But if we were told that we must acknowledge one sin, I'd put my money on UU's voting for the sin of omission. We value showing up to fight injustice, to help, to do the hard work, and we might be a little judgy about the passivity of thoughts and prayers when helping hands and raised voices are needed. Most of us are harder on ourselves than others could ever be. I'm not an exception. My tender 10-year-old heart still shakes in her boots, certain we're doomed to hell because I've racked up so many sins of omission over the years. That's easy to do when you're conflict avoidant. Even though I was raised in a hellfire and damnation tradition, I'm not here today to point fingers and scare the bejesus out of you for the sins you're racking up. Instead, I hope to take you on a story journey. Starting with the sin of omission, I'll take you down a path that leads to gifts and collaborative courage. The characters of my stories this morning are Eloise, Gretel, and Eleanor. I met Eloise in 2021. Mom stood in a window, pointed at the highway. "That woman needs help." She wasn't wrong. I told Mom to stay put and went to the highway to see if I could help this woman who looked older than Mom and who might, like Mom, be struggling with Alzheimer's or dementia. Why else would an elderly woman be walking 4 dogs on a rural highway with dangerous log and gravel trucks whizzing by every 5 or 10 minutes? "I'm Eloise," she responded when I introduced myself. In that short walk down the highway, she shared some of her story. Mind you, I already had plenty of backstory surrounding this property I was returning her to. Loud parties, frequent gunshots, overdoses with at least 2 fatalities, drug drops. As she handed me the small dog she was carrying, she told me, "My sons brought me back here from Denham Springs. I had a perfectly fine house in Denham Springs." I had trouble understanding why sons would bring their elderly mom from a perfectly fine house to a troubled land. But I also didn't know the whole story, so I listened. At the gate of her driveway, she pointed at the hand-painted sign and told me, "You can't go past that. They will shoot." I returned the small dog I had carried for her, then watched her make her way around the muddy holes of the rough dirt driveway until she disappeared into the trees. I thought about her whenever I'd hear gunshots in parties. I wondered where she might be when the plane flew low over our properties at midnight. I worried about her when I heard a generator fire up days in a row, even though we hadn't had a power outage in our area. I did all that, but I did not go beyond the sign on the gate. I did not check on her.
So that's how I get to introduce the offering? All right. There's a few things with the offering. First, this whole month we are sharing with Vote, which is Voice of the Experienced. It's a group created by and supporting formerly incarcerated people. They do a lot of advocacy work, which leads into an event that is happening next Sunday in the church, which is not Vote sponsored, it's just kind of in the same realm. A member of Together Baton Rouge, not as a part of Together Baton Rouge, her name is Jennifer Carwile. She is an artist. She has been spearheading or a part of a move to fund building a new jail, which is a complicated sentence to offer to you all. I do not think we need to spend any more money on policing or jails. And I have toured the jail, and it is dangerous and abysmal, the facility itself, and it is not respectful to the people who are there. So that complexity has been living in me since they took a tour on that. So next Sunday at 4 o'clock, she is going to have a presentation at this church, which includes some of her art. I just want to raise that for you so that's something that you could take in mind and maybe engage with. So that is next Sunday. The other piece is we still do not have funding for people to have access to food. I mean, in Louisiana we do kind of, but so the food bank box is right in the narthex. Please feel free to fill that. We have a volunteer who diligently brings that to the food bank every week, and I want you all to make her miserable with how much food she has to bring. So every time you have food that you either like or want to share, please bring it. And with that, I will ask you to give very generously as this morning's offering is gratefully given and received.
An excerpt from First They Came. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me.
Sometimes what feels like inaction is actually discernment. Listening, truly listening, might be the first act of courage. I considered avoiding Eloise in this sermon because I don't feel good about what I didn't do. Omission often grows not from apathy, but from fear or uncertainty. I feared getting shot. And in this moment, sharing this omission, I quite honestly fear your judgment. Not checking on someone or doing for someone isn't my typical sin of omission. As a conflict avoider, my most frequent sin of omission is speaking out or speaking up. I fear the repercussions of that omission from the reading. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Martin Niemöller was a complicated fellow, a Lutheran minister who was initially an anti-Semitic Nazi supporter. When he spoke out against the Nazi control over churches, they came for him, and he found himself in a concentration camp. He was complicated, and his hands weren't clean. My connection to Eloise is complicated. My response to her situation wasn't clean. I take the Niemöller quote to heart, and I'm working on showing up for the hard things. Speaking out in uncomfortable company is the hardest work for me. When someone says something offensive, I mainly dodge the discomfort. But there's more to it than that. I know my tongue. It gets tied up and twists around the words, then whines and whines. And the person who offered the egregious comment or act to begin with walks away smirking. Somehow, my outburst proved their point. I want to do the right thing, but I don't know that jumping in a debate at a dinner table is always the right thing for me to do. This isn't an apology for this sin of omission, although saying it out loud certainly sounds like one. I want to be the person who can respond with a question or comment that fosters honest debate. I want to be the one who steps into heated discussions with well-researched and clear information on the tip of her tongue. This is a gift I wasn't born with, and I haven't managed to cultivate it. I know that, even here, I am not the only one. The next story this morning is about Gretel and how the universe reminded me we don't all have the same strengths. This story begins with my friends Patty and Pam, fearless advocates for strays. They see a dog on the road, they stop and rescue it, and it works out. If they don't adopt the stray, they almost immediately find someone who really needed that dog. I wanted to be more like Patty and Pam, but I've never felt fearless enough to pull over. What if the dog bites me? What if it's rabid? What if it has fleas? So many times I saw a stray and I didn't stop. Later I'd kick myself. Damn, another sin of omission. I should have stopped. I should have helped. Earlier this year, 2 puppies showed up at my home on the farm, along the same highway where I walked Eloise and her dogs to her gate. People often dump puppies and other unwanted animals in rural areas. The 2 puppies that wandered up to my house were curious but shy, very sweet, and so skinny I could count their ribs. I started feeding them and called them Hansel and Gretel. My daughter from Chicago was visiting and met the puppies. "Mom, look at that lesion on her neck." Some sort of worm or larva was wiggling around in a wound on Gretel's neck. At the time, chicken and cat owners were on high alert. Cats and yard birds were dying from an outbreak of avian flu. "Don't touch her," my daughter warned. "You might infect Rosie or Venus with something bad." So I avoided petting Hansel and Gretel, but I fed them. I checked, but the local shelters were not taking strays at the time. My cousin's wife up the highway also had seen them and made a shelter but couldn't take them in. Like me, she had pets she wanted to protect. Like the Eloise story, I struggled with sharing Gretel's story this morning, fearing judgment. Also, this story might embarrass my children. I'm at the farm less than half of each month. For a couple of months, Hansel and Gretel returned when I was there. I'd feed them from a distance. After a few visits, only Gretel returned. My cousin's wife confirmed she hadn't seen Hansel in a while. I kicked myself for not doing more. A month ago, Gretel returned to my house. I had been at the farm less than usual, so I hadn't seen her in 2 or 3 months. When she saw me from the other side of the fence, she rolled over, belly up, a sign of trust and submission. I approached to talk to her, and my heart dropped. She was still a puppy, but she had a litter that seemed to still be nursing. I have to do something, I decided. The local shelters still weren't taking, but I could take her and the litter with me to Baton Rouge when I left in a couple of days. At least get her fixed and treated for worms, ticks, and fleas. I could be a stray hero like Patty and Pam. On my return day, Gretel showed up in the morning as usual. I invited her into my house and let her hang out while I prepared to leave for a writing group. She seemed fine. She was calm. I closed off the rooms to keep her in one area and away from Venus, and left a bed and water for her. I'll be right back, I promised. Just 1 hour. When I return, you can take me to your litter, and we can go all together to Baton Rouge and make this all better. She looked at me from the bed I gave her, tail wagging. What could go wrong? Please rise as you are willing and able for the next hymn.
O healing river, send down your waters, send down your waters upon this land. O healing river, send down your waters and wash the blood from off the sand. This land is parching, this land is burning, no seed is growing in barren ground. O healing river, send down your waters. O healing river, send waters down. Let seeds of freedom awake and flourish. Let deep roots nourish. Let tall stalks rise. O healing river, send down your waters. O healing river, from out of the skies.
An excerpt from Cutting for Stone. The key to your happiness is to own your slippers. Own who you are. Own how you look. Own your family. Own the talents you have. Own the ones you don't. If you keep saying your slippers aren't yours, then you'll die searching. You'll die bitter, always feeling you were promised more. Not only our actions, but also our omissions become our destiny.
On my way to the creative writing group at the Bogalusa Library, I called my partner, Stephen, and told him what I had done. He was aghast. You what? Side note, another skill I don't have is checking the pool for water before jumping in. It'll be fine. She was fine. She was calm. I'll be gone only an hour. But I was less and less sure about my plan. I returned quickly from the meeting. At first, everything seemed fine. I called for Gretel. She was curled up in the hallway, looking guilty. So I started looking around. In her attempt to return to her litter, she tried to go through the windows. Two things. One, in the area where Gretel was confined, there are 10 windows. Thing two, my screens are on the inside of the windows. Two things she didn't do. She didn't break any windows, and she didn't get out. I hated a lot of things in that moment. I hated that Stephen was right. I hated that I had caused Gretel so much distress. I hated that I tried to avoid what some denominations might call a sin of omission, and I failed. I hated that I didn't rescue Gretel and her puppies. I also didn't love that I had 7 screens to replace. I'm still waiting to learn what that will cost me. But Gretel taught me what Eloise had already begun to show me, that compassion without listening can create more wounds than it heals. I wondered if Hansel and Gretel weren't part of Eloise's pack. Her animals, including yard birds, often crossed the highway to visit me. The sign and trucks that didn't intimidate them. And so I was curious. I Googled Eloise and found her obituary. She died last November, a little over 3 years after I walked her to her gate. I began writing her story to forgive myself for never checking on her. I began writing to understand who Eloise might have been and how those last years on that property littered with old trailers played out. I began writing her story to heal. As I wrote, I moved deeper into story, and Eloise became Eleanor. And Eleanor became very loud in my head. The frayed pieces of Eloise helped me find and understand Eleanor. And Eleanor gave me all the backstory and journey of a life very different from mine. She drew me in for intimate details of a love story that unfolds into domestic violence. She flew me up for a bird's eye view of survivors, the traps that ensnare them, and their sins of omission. Eleanor was and continues to speak out and speak up for all the Eloises and Eleanors of the world, women who tread water for decades just to draw another breath of air without drowning, while others who have their feet on the ground stand around the deep pool and ask irrelevant questions. Why didn't you get out? Why didn't you leave? What's wrong with you? Why are you still there? I thought I knew what I was writing, but as I listened to Eleanor, it became more than the story of an old woman living out her last days alone on ramshackle property, more than the years she stayed with her abuser, more than the elder abuse she suffered at the hands of her own sons. This story implores us to look without turning away, to look at Eloise and Eleanor, and then look in. Please rise as you're willing and able for our next hymn.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May loving kindness. May I be well, may I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
We are the builders. Welcome to our community day.
Ready to find your role to play? My name is Ramla. I'm your guide. Follow me and stay by my side. So many grown-ups and kids are here. Everyone wants to volunteer. There's plenty to do in our town. Help new friends, plant trees in the ground.
The time is now. Let's all play a part. Listen and learn what moves your heart. We are the builders.
We form and forge, construct and fix, improve homes with nails and bricks. See those old desks, tables, and chairs? Good as new with some repairs.
Who wants to join the builders? We are the caregivers.
We comfort, console, soothe, and cheer. Care kits for all, near and dear. Acts of service and words that mend. How can I help, my new friend?
Who wants to join the caregivers? We are the frontline responders.
We plan and protect, stay prepared. Storms brewing, but don't be scared. Stock cans of soup, bags of fresh fruits, gather warm coats, gloves, and boots.
Who wants to join the frontline responders? We are the disruptors.
We declare, demand, demonstrate. Call for change, don't hesitate. Raise our voices, banners, and beats. Meet and march out in the streets.
Who wants to join the disruptors? We are the experimenters.
We scan, invent, and improvise. Solve hard problems with fresh eyes. What if these used bottles and rags could become backpacks and bags?
Who wants to join the experimenters? We are visionaries.
We dream, imagine, and inspire. A world where we can all admire. Fresh air, clean water, safe and free, bright futures, that's what we see.
Who wants to join the visionaries? We are the weavers.
We stitch, we braid, we intertwine. Common threads link hearts and minds. When people fight or disagree, find what connects you and me.
Who wants to join the weavers? We are the healers.
We renew, restore, and relieve. Tend to those who cry and grieve. Sometimes when the world is too much, we nurture with breath and touch.
Who wants to join the healers? We are the storytellers.
We sing, we dance, we create art. Bring joy and love, heart to heart. Vibrant murals preserve our past. History's cherished at last.
Who wants to join the storytellers? Of the different roles to play, which one feels like you today?
You could become a guide like me. Show new folks what they can be. We mentor, we advise, we steer, share wisdom, honest and clear. Now that it's clear what we each can do, we want to hear from all of you.
What role would you choose? Who would you be?
How will you change your community?
I moved the lesson to this final note of the sermon so we could walk each other home. Here in this sanctuary, we're all of similar, if not like minds, but we don't all have the same gifts. I see so many in our congregation filling in those gaps of omission that I cannot fill. The first year I helped organize the UU Connections Fair, I was gobsmacked to discover all the names of all the different people who filled in so many volunteer gaps. If I call out a need in this congregation, social justice, radical hospitality, climate work, disaster response, I can already see faces and hear names. That's the beauty of this place. The gaps are always met with gifts. We don't all have the same gifts, but we can all show up to make change. We might not do the same things, but the different things we do matter. Sometimes what looks like an omission isn't an omission, it's a discernment of strengths and situation. I expect at least one person here today or watching is wagging a "you should have" finger at me. You should have checked on Eleanor. You should have called someone. And maybe that person is right, but here's what I won't do ever again. I won't barge in to be the hero without listening first to the person who needs help. I won't capture another semi-feral creature for fear of being judged when I am unprepared to take on the task. I will listen. I will be discerning about what I can offer without causing more harm or endangering myself. And I will always bring all of it to the page, because that's where I can make a positive difference. Here's a passage from my notes on Eleanor, the Return to Grace. Sometimes good advice is bad. Sometimes well-intended suggestions are harmful. I listened deeply to Eleanor. I'm grateful I haven't known her fears and hopeful I can convey her story, not so the rest of us can watch the train wreck that it was, but so we can see ourselves gawking, hear ourselves talking and failing to listen, feel ourselves judging and turning away. I didn't set out to write this because I want my readers to squirm, but now that I'm in it, I might be disappointed if they don't. We need to be aware enough to become uncomfortable with ourselves and the way we process difference, the way we other, the way our biases sneak up on us. Thank you, Eleanor. You've taught me so much about myself. You've surprised me. I've surprised myself. 3 years ago, I listened to Eloise when she told me I couldn't follow her in. She was wise. Going past that gate and the warning sign could have been disastrous. I might have caused more harm or provoked a dangerous situation. Instead, I carried my unsettled feelings about my sin of omission and placed them on the page, where I can speak out effectively and speak up for others without causing more injury. I might not have redeemed myself in the eyes of that person wagging a finger at me, but I did what I could. Let's return a moment to that verse that troubled me. I opened with the New Revised Standard Version of James 4:17. Anyone, then, who knows the right thing to do and fails to do it is guilty of sin. I was whipped into a frenzy by that verse as a child. But the person whipping that verse around failed to underscore one key word that comes up in all the English iterations of the verse: knows. Anyone who knows, him who knoweth, the man who has knowledge, the person who knows, whoever knows. If you know, it is a sin to know. That James guy from the Bible didn't warn that not doing the right thing is the sin. The sin is in knowing and not doing. What my UU ears hear is not a condemnation, but a call to self-examination, a call to understand what holds us back, to assess the strengths that bring us together and carry us over. Maybe the right thing for someone else isn't the right thing for you, and that's okay. Lean into your gifts, listen deeply, and remember that social justice is a chorus, not a solo. Please rise for our closing hymn.
Okay, you know this one, so let's sing out, huh? Keep your heart wide open, though the waves want to push you around. You've got to keep your heart wide open. Well, the wave brings you back to solid ground. You've got to keep your arms wide open, though the waves want to push you around. You've got to keep your arms wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground. Keep your eyes wide open, though the waves want to push you around. You've got to keep your eyes wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground. Keep your love wide open, though the waves want to push you around. You've got to keep your love wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground.
Many of the cars in our parking lot sport bumper stickers. Before we head into the week, I'd like to leave you with a few bumper stickers for your soul. Show up to the table with your unique gifts. Heroism without listening harms. Justice and compassion are collaborative, not competitive. And take this question into the week. What omission can I redeem, not through guilt, but through courage and awareness? Thank you. Amen.